Now on Central ITV, replacing the programme you may have seen advertised, we take to the road with Drivers from Hell.
Sitting in the driver's seat all over Britain, there are lunatics.
I wasn't trying to kill him, I was just trying to scare him.
Mr. Raybold could have been looking at a murder charge.
There are maniacs.
Got put in prison for doing 130 in a 30-mile speed limit.
And there are fools.
I'm a better driver than 95% of the population in the UK.
Some drivers are more dangerous than they think.
He's in and out, zigzags, it's just a nightmare.
So sit back.
I thought there was a bomb.
And from the safety of your living room,
there must be something wrong with the guy. He's unhinged to the max.
meet the drivers you don't want to meet on the road. The cab of an articulated lorry weighs 8 tons. In the wrong hands, it's a lethal weapon. And on the night of Monday, May the 16th, 1994, in Staffordshire, a lorry did get into the wrong hands. This footage was shot by a witness with a camcorder. It shows the aftermath of 5 hours of madness as the driver hunted for victims in what police later dubbed the terror truck.
So what were you trying to do?
Well, just to ram as many police cars as I could.
Were you trying to kill the police?
I wasn't trying to kill him, I was just trying to scare him.
But you could have done.
Oh yeah, I could have done.
Well, about 10:30 at night, there was a telephone call in the force control room at Stafford to say that a lorry had been stolen and it had been seen driving up the motorway. A local patrol came across this vehicle and actually pulled it in from behind on the hard shoulder. Officer got out to speak to the driver. And
I just looked in the mirror and I saw both of them running towards me. I waited till they were actually level to the back of the truck, and then I just let the clutch out and it went into reverse. I hit that police car, but the driver of the police car tried to get back in it and moved out of the way, and of course he got injured.
Raybold drove off and was soon surrounded by a convoy of police cars, but he refused to stop. Instead, he drove off the motorway and headed into the town of Hanley.
The only picture that was in my mind was my best mate, really. You know, like he was only 17.
His best mate, a joyrider, had died in a car crash with the police on his tail. Raybold blamed them, and he wanted revenge. Cameras in 2 police cars continued to film the night's insanity. The officer in this car was forced to back off to avoid being crushed by the reversing lorry.
it was quite clear that he was baiting police officers, and certainly in the town in Hanley there was an incident where we got 5 or 6 members of the public's vehicle stationary, and he saw a police Jaguar.
So I tried to swerve on the pavement and go along the pavement, and I'd actually missed 2 cars in the queue. One pulled straight on the pavement, straight in front of me. So I hit him, pushed him into another one, pushed that into a police officer that was on foot, pushed that into a police Jaguar, and pushed them all down the street.
We went round the back streets, and as we came up the side streets here, he pulled out in front of us and went straight past the car, the front of the car, and it was really frightening sort of thing.
I was so excited, you know, like the adrenaline going. I knew that they'd be injured.
So you knew you were injuring police officers?
Yeah.
Midway through the evening, Raybold was filmed inspecting some of the damage he'd caused.
I was actually that excited that my hands were shaking on the wheel. You know, I just felt really good.
You were enjoying it?
Into the small hours, he rammed one car after another.
We had 3 or 4 police officers injured, and there was probably 3 or 4 members of the public injured as well.
At one point he came down to this roundabout here, and he was driving around really slowly, hanging out of the open window, brandishing what it looked like a knife to me.
Yeah, I did have a knife in the cab, and a couple of stages through the chase, you know, I was that furious that I did actually flash it at the police. You know, as if, like I say, if you come somewhere near me, you're going to get it.
I think he needs some adjustment, I really do. He needs to be put in some kind of institution and locked away for a long, long time, and to be reintroduced into society slowly. I really do. There must be something wrong with the guy. He's unhinged to the max.
Eventually, at 3 a.m. and with a 60-mile trail of destruction behind him, Raybould gave himself up. He was convicted of 11 offences and jailed for 16 months.
How would you feel now if you had killed somebody?
I'd be pretty gutted. Yeah, I'd be pretty gutted, especially if it was a member of the public.
We could have been quite easily dealing with a fatal road accident, and Mr. Raybould could have been looking at a murder charge.
Are you banned from driving a truck now?
Yeah.
How long for?
4 years.
When does that expire?
This coming October.
This coming October?
Yeah.
And then you can drive a truck again?
Yeah.
Will you?
Yeah. I will. But not into police cars no more.
Take a close look at the driver who's about to be filmed by a passing tourist on the M1. He thinks he's so good he can steer with his feet and play the trumpet at 70 miles per hour. And watch this Land Rover. Its driver decides to take it off-road, not realising there's a police car behind him.
Oh, yes, well, that's good enough evidence. That's good enough evidence. That's without due care.
They're not the only overconfident drivers on the road. We commissioned a unique survey of 1,000 motorists around Britain to find out what's in their minds as they drive. The results are astonishing. 68% think the general standard of driving is poor or appalling. But only 7% are as critical of their own driving. 74% of men think they're the best drivers in their family, but only 14% of women think they are. But we also found that the better drivers think they are, the more likely they are to drive dangerously.
Well, after conducting the Drivers from Hell research, I wasn't particularly surprised that most men reckoned they were great drivers. Now, what I was surprised at was the better people reckoned they were at driving, the worse their driving behaviour was. They were very likely to be running through red lights, speeding, cutting up other motorists. Also, they were much more likely to be very judgmental of other people's driving mistakes.
My driving's, I'd say, very good. Like Brian Clough's the best manager England never had. You know, I'm the best Grand Prix driver that England's never had, basically.
Stephen Whittaker is 25 and works in a betting shop in West London.
Yeah, shall I take it now, yeah?
He's been driving for 7 years.
I think everyone thinks they're the better driver, but
Bigger payout.
they think it, I know it.
Yeah, sure.
He's not the only one who thinks he's better than everyone else. Of the 500 men we spoke to in our survey, just 2 said their driving was below average.
Good morning, afternoon to me.
Are drivers like Stephen really as good as they say they are? We rigged his Rover with cameras and filmed over 4 days so he'd start to forget about them. Meanwhile, we spoke to his family and colleagues.
His overall driving is terrible. He's like heavy on the brakes, he wheel spins it everywhere. He puts the shits up, yeah?
Shit him up.
He drives right up people's arses.
This bloke's arse.
When he's overtaking, he's 6 foot wide of the cars. He doesn't drive normally. He's in and out, zigzags. It's just nightmare.
He's quite confident in his driving because he thinks he's the only one on the road.
60 mile an hour road and he's doing 35 with a wanker.
You know what I mean? He's there and he's there and oh.
Basically, Stephen's a very good driver. It's everybody else who's a bad driver.
Wanker.
And when you're actually in the car with him, you know, he's very verbal about everybody else's driving.
Stephen says he's not only a good driver, he's also a safe one. Well, he didn't hurt anybody in the 6 accidents he's had.
I don't like women drivers.
You could talk, you woman. Nice tits, though.
No, some of them are okay. The ones that are pushing shopping trolleys around Tesco's, they're pretty good drivers, you know. They'll be on their trolley.
Stephen drives 40,000 miles a year, more than he tells his insurers. But he has a clean licence and no driving convictions.
I'd like to be the centre of attention. That's just me in general, basically. Down the pub, I'm always a loudmouth git. I'm always the one that knows everything about everyone and everything, stuff like that. Even at work as well. Eager to learn, like just be the centre of attention, just be top dog, you know, dog's bollocks sort of thing.
In the 4 days we filmed him, Stephen gave 112 people a piece of his mind and swore at drivers on average once every 4 minutes.
What do you say to people who don't rate your driving?
Don't come in my car next time. You know, if you don't like the Steve's taxi service, shouldn't be in my car.
F***ing caravans. Wankers. Look, 4 in a row. 5. Oh, bollocks. 6. There's 7. All Volvos.
I don't like old people driving on the road. I think they should be taken off the road at probably about the age of 60, 65.
Nice indicating, you old fart.
Especially like old grannies in little Fiestas, you know, they can just about see over the dashboard sort of thing like that with a periscope. They've got the reaction time of a tortoise, so it's got no legs basically.
You stupid old bag.
Everyone that slagged me down while driving, yeah, I'm a lot better driver than them.
Got the curb, woman. Thank you.
They can all gang up against me. Yeah, I'll fight you all.
Steve, how have you been done? Shit.
People rate their own driving ability so high that they actually develop this moral superiority complex whereby they kind of become self-appointed moral traffic police on the road. They'll point out things that are wrong with other motorists, but in doing that it winds them up more, they become more enraged, and they get pushed to the point of losing control.
The driver of this blue car has just started a war with the car behind by cutting in front at traffic lights. The first missile is launched. And battle commences. Another battle. The white van cuts in at the last minute. And the driver of the green car retaliates. We wanted to know how aggressive people are in their cars. Our survey revealed just how many men are so agitated that they could snap at the drop of a hat. 2.5% of British men are naturally prone to aggression or violence, but on the road that figure goes up to 37%. And a quarter say they've threatened other motorists by swerving their car at them.
I just began my driving test and within 30 seconds I had to do a real emergency stop because a young mother had pushed her pram with twins in it into the middle of the road, and at that moment I forgot I was on the test and got out of the car, and I gave the mother a load of verbal abuse which doesn't bear repeating, it's far too lethal. And then when I turned round and saw the examiner sitting there very disapprovingly with his arms folded, having bashed his head on the dashboard, I then thought, oh my God, what have I done? I'm on a driving test. And at the end of the test, he said, I'm sorry, Mr. Kraft, although you were right to do the emergency stop, you cannot go around screaming and yelling at pedestrians. You failed.
Nick and Dee Gautama, partners in life, marriage and karaoke, providing the Saturday night thrills at a pub in North London. On stage, they're harmonious. But on the road, they're a nightmare. After tonight's karaoke show, they're going to the south of France. It's an 800-mile journey, and they're not looking forward to it.
How that woman was ever allowed on the roads to drive is beyond me. I can't stand the way she drives.
I'm awful. I'm proud of it. I know, we can't be all good at everything, huh? Ah, excuse me.
The other thing about Dee is her map reading. You know, terrible.
Come on, Nick.
We could even end up in Italy. You're kidding me.
Yes, I'm not. I'm serious.
Look, we haven't got time for library books now. I don't care a gnat's arse about your library books. We've got to go.
And so their journey begins. They're going to Marseille to see their 2 daughters. It would take any normal couple a day and a half. The Gautamers have allowed 3, extra time for getting lost and bickering. But will even that be enough? They've only been in France for a few minutes and already they're arguing.
Well, Sunday, huh? What do you call Sunday again?
Dimanche.
Dimanche.
I prefer, actually, if you concentrated on thinking about the journey, not about
We are in
bloody
France.
French.
We're going to learn a bit of French.
Can I go? Can't see.
He's going.
Go,
Let's
yeah.
go, let's go. Straight, go. No?
All right.
Yes, no, it's green.
Yeah,
Are
but
you
there wasn't
normal?
I couldn't see a light. All right. Will you stop bloody doing that with the mirror?
I need to check up on my makeup.
Well, I don't
Go on.
bloody care about your makeup.
I tell you, with you driving, we never even have breakfast or lunch or supper.
See, I just like to get moving, you know?
Yeah, I know, but
Hanging
come on, it
around.
is a holiday. Don't be funny, Nick. You just
toll
want to go a bit
roads.
slower.
Bloody toll
Oh, no. Oh, dear. See, you wanted to avoid them. You wanted to see a bit of scenery, so we're stuck
really
now.
would have gone, toll roads. Oh, shit.
Come sundown, they're still bickering, and although they don't know it, they're going the wrong way.
We're on the A1 at the moment, and then we're going to cut across.
We're not on the A1.
All right, we're not on the A1.
We're not on the A1.
Well, what are we on?
Well, where does it say A1?
Well, whatever it is, A something.
No, we're not on... Well, we're on the A1 here. We're not...
Yes, we are, you idiot.
You just stop calling me an idiot. Fine.
It's late.
Oh, no.
They start looking for a hotel in the small town of Saint-Quentin.
Here. Is there a hotel here? No, that's a bank.
There are half a dozen here in the centre, but a couple of wrong turns and they're back in the outskirts of town. Then Dee spots a sign for the Hotel de Ville.
Hotel de Ville. There you go.
Perfect, except that Hotel de Ville is French for town hall.
400p parking places.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
Undeterred, they make their way to nothing more than a car park. They're 22 hours from London, and most people would be in the south of France by now. But the Gautamers have only done 100 of 800 miles. Will they ever find a hotel or reach Marseille? Also in part 2, the motorway madness that left a woman seconds from disaster.
Right, that's me getting out of the car. Thinking, we've got to sort you out. You've got to stop, we've got to get you out of the car. You stopped. Don't go, don't go.
And the drivers who crave danger.
You might kill someone.
You try not to.
But you accept that you could actually kill somebody?
Yeah, you've got to, haven't you?
Motorways, Britain's fastest but safest roads. Only 1 in 20 fatal crashes happens here. That's because motorway driving is designed to be extremely simple. Very occasionally, though, someone manages a jaw-droppingly stupid mistake. At 2:20 a.m. on the 6th of June 1996, an officer from Thames Valley Police couldn't believe his ears.
I get the call. I've never ever seen an incident like this before. And by the time I get there, I expect to see a nasty fatal accident.
The call said that a driver had muddled up the slip roads joining the M40, was going the wrong way up the motorway, and to make matters worse, she was in the fast lane. These infrared pictures taken from a police helicopter show the terrifying drama as it unfolds. A confused 70-year-old woman in the car at the bottom of the screen is now going against the traffic. PC Thirlwell, in the car on the left, has seconds to avert a catastrophe.
And there it is, just ahead of us. Just couldn't believe it. It's just, it looks so alien. You do not expect to see red lights ahead of you on a carriageway, and you expect headlights coming. Couldn't believe it.
Neither can the oncoming traffic, like this juggernaut.
You can see the traffic still moving past what was near motorway speeds, although they can see our blue lights. They obviously aren't aware. You don't expect someone to come up the wrong way. And we're running alongside it, and I'm thinking, she hasn't stopped. Shortly we're going to witness a fatal accident. We had our blue lights on, we had the sirens on, and we looked across at her. We waved our arms, telling her, trying to get her to slow down. She looked at us, made eye contact, looked away, and she hadn't even acknowledged our presence. I couldn't believe that there we are, the most visible car on the road. She didn't even see us. Didn't even see us.
After several agonizing minutes in the path of oncoming traffic, she finally spots the police car and slows down.
Right, that's me getting out of the car, thinking, we've got to sort you out. We've got to stop, we've got to get you out of the car. You stopped. Don't go, don't go. I opened her door. I can't remember what I said, but it wasn't the type of conversation. It was something like, you'd have to get out of the car, you're going the wrong way up the motorway. And I think I helped her off with her seatbelt and helped her out with the car. It wasn't the place to discuss it.
PC Thirlwell takes the driver to the central reservation.
And I'm just so relieved that she's okay. She's not going to die that night. She's going home to her family. It's good. It's a good feeling.
Her car is now on the hard shoulder, and PC Thirlwell helps her from the central reservation across the carriageway to safety. She was prosecuted for driving dangerously, with defective eyesight, and with an expired licence. She was fined £400 and asked to retake her test. Instead, she chose never to drive again. You're watching a test drive. The driver of this Porsche borrowed it for a lot longer than the owner had expected. He's doing over 100 miles per hour now and loving it. Until... amazingly, no one was seriously hurt. A level crossing in Staffordshire. A train's coming. The barriers go down, and a driver chances his luck. Speeding is something almost everyone in our survey admitted to, but that great deterrent, the speed camera, is treated with disdain. 3/4 slow down to avoid being caught, and nearly everyone who does then speeds up when the coast is clear, especially women.
I was 18. It was my first job. I was working for Hertz. I had a really strict boss, and I was really trying to impress him. And my job was to check the cars in and out. And I remember one Friday afternoon, a couple brought their car in and parked in front of the shop front. I went to check their car in. I turned the ignition, I went to put it in neutral, but the gear lever got jammed. And the car just shot forward, up a ramp, into the shop front, into the shop, glass everywhere. My boss was completely gobsmacked and really should have seen the look on his face.
It's day 2, and Nick and Dee Gautama still have 700 miles to go. They eventually found a hotel last night, and over breakfast they come up with a cunning plan to avoid repeating yesterday's fiasco. Nick map reads, Dee drives.
I just want to get on with that holiday. I mean, he's just too bloody slow for me. I just like a nice, fast drive, get on a road.
The only thing I want to do is to avoid anywhere where I've got to spend money.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. Ah!
Oh, no! What is the problem?
What?
You've got miles of space
Well, I'm trying
there.
to get into the centre of the damn thing. Do you mind?
Stupid.
You're bloody stupid. You know, what are you on about?
See what happens when I let you drive?
shut up.
Now be very careful.
Where
as you
now?
come out. Turn right, it's one way. Dum-dum.
You always shout at me when I'm driving. I'm bloody sick of you.
I don't. I'm going to hit that.
Oh, shut up.
Pathetic, holding up all the traffic. Unbelievable. Okay.
We make a good team, you see. You're bloody useless at driving, and I'm a good driver, and you're better at navigating. You know, we sort of get there in the middle, and we get there eventually.
Dee's just about to show off more of her driving skills at a mini roundabout. She should go right.
Beautiful little town.
Quaint place.
Where? All directions.
Even Nick doesn't notice.
We're looking for and I bet now we've got it.
In the afternoon, they reach Soissons, a small town with a simple ring road. A job for the navigator. Nick's turn to shine.
To the left, yeah, because it
No,
says
no, no, D1. Where are you going?
Finish.
Sorry. We've just been there. I don't believe this. We've just been here.
I'm getting a little bit confused now. Oh dear. Ah, I can't stand this.
It's taken 30 minutes. It should have taken 5.
Oh dear.
Shit.
Well, that's Luxembourg for start.
Another town, same story. Even by their standards, they should be halfway to Marseille by now. But so far today, they've made almost no progress.
Taking us that way. We don't want to go that way. We want to go this way.
With 600 miles still to go, Nick concedes defeat. They'll have to spend money on toll roads after all. A wet and windy Saturday night in Brighton. It's 10 o'clock and mayhem is on its way. Within half an hour, this will be the scene. And the night will end in injury and arrest. The Brighton Cruise is a monthly illegal event on Madeira Drive, a dimly lit public road down by the seafront. Enthusiasts gather with their souped-up cars to show off. This kind of event happens up and down the country. This footage was shot in Oxford. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and a gang is putting a stolen car through its paces. Another night, the same gang. This time they're playing skittles with traffic bollards. Back in Brighton, things are hotting up. The cruisers are burning out their own tyres at up to £200 a time.
What do you do that for? I laugh at it.
Illegal cruises are organised by an underground network on the internet and mobile phones. There are now over 100 drivers and 500 spectators.
Got nice cars and that, might as well show them off and that. Just put on a bit of a show, really.
You want to get respect from other blokes for driving your car.
You need the respect from the blokes.
Yeah.
You only live once, don't you? You got a feel for it.
But it's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous, yeah.
But that doesn't bother you?
Nah.
And it's illegal?
It's illegal, yeah.
And that doesn't bother you?
No, that's why I've got 11 points on my licence.
I think I've clocked just over 100 points now. Various things, speeding, reckless driving, dangerous driving, driving without due care and attention. I haven't run anyone over yet. I've got to add that to my list.
One more point, I've gone now, more or less.
I got put in prison for doing 130 in a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit.
From Southend to here, it took me 38 minutes.
How far is that?
55 miles? No, about 60 miles from here.
What speed were you doing?
135.
I'm actually on a 3-year disqualification at the moment for road rage. So. And you're going to drive anyway? See how we go. You're planning on it? Maybe. We'll see how we do. Can't keep a good man down.
People underestimate the danger that the road presents.
And going back just 2 years, a young man was killed at a cruise in Brighton. And that young man was a pedestrian, and he was hit by a car travelling at just under 60 miles an hour in the place that you were filming on Saturday night.
It's rather dangerous, you know.
This footage of a previous Brighton cruise was obtained by the police. By 11 o'clock, the same antics are on display at tonight's cruise. When the police show up at midnight, they're met with howls of derision.
Well, you might kill someone.
You try not to.
But you accept that you could actually kill somebody?
Yeah, you've got to, haven't you? It could happen anywhere. It could happen if you walk down the street, someone can run you over.
But this increases your chances of killing somebody?
Yeah, it does, yeah. It does, yeah.
That doesn't worry you?
No, don't worry me one bit, no.
Have you known any accidents happen?
Oh yeah, I've seen plenty of them, yeah. It doesn't put you off though.
Shortly after midnight, the inevitable happened. One of the cruisers, travelling at 70 miles per hour, crashed into another. The victim was thrown through a car window and suffered head injuries. He was taken to hospital for treatment. The speeding motorist drove off but was caught and arrested. The police say they're now losing patience. They're considering building barriers down Madeira Drive, but know that the problem wouldn't go away, it would go elsewhere. In the meantime, some of the cruisers have the nerve to complain that they get a raw deal.
I think a lot of it's unfair. I think there's a lot of discrimination against age.
He's a maniac.
So.
He's only a scrapyard.
He thinks you're a maniac?
He can't talk. He's as bad as me.
That is 1 injured, 2 injured today.
This man has smashed 2,000 eggs in the centre of Gloucester. Roland Parsons works for the council. He's also a lay preacher. And for 15 years, he's been graphically demonstrating what speeding motorists do to 7 accident victims a day in his county.
I feel that the 30 mile an hour limit is too high where there are fronting houses and parked cars and all the back streets. People ought to be going far slower than that all the time. It should be an absolute maximum of 25.
And that's as fast as Roland goes. He believes in practicing what he preaches, much to the annoyance of everyone stuck behind his surprisingly sporty Capri Laser.
I am all the time trying to keep below 25 miles an hour. That is something I've personally taken on as something I feel very strongly about, and I'm going to set an example, and I'm asking everybody else to join in.
Of course, they don't always want to join in, but with Roland in front, they don't always have a choice. That makes him the ultimate road hog, the last person you want to be caught behind, and he doesn't care.
If they are trying to go faster than me in those circumstances, they're travelling too fast.
Nobody's ever worked up?
I don't know what you mean by worked up.
Is anybody ever irritated by anything that you're doing on the road?
Well, I don't know. You'll have to go and ask them. I don't recall anybody beeping their horn at me or shouting abuse, but then I've got a very short memory.
Not surprisingly, Roland's driving style isn't popular, despite his blemish-free record. Even the police lost patience and pulled him over.
They said that they would consider doing me under the careless driving. So they're saying that when you're taking care, you're careless.
There was no prosecution, and Roland continues his campaign. He says the Holy Spirit told him to do it, and he spreads the word all over Gloucester. Tredworth Junior School, for example, is an ideal place to teach drivers a lesson. It's on a busy road, and it also happens to be where the police stopped Roland for driving too slowly.
I believe that driving is something you can perfect, and I am a perfectionist. I go for the best.
And do you think you drive the best way?
I believe with the knowledge and understanding I have, I hope to set an example to other people.
Why do you have a fast car?
Because I live at the top of a hill.
I really, really love driving. I'm normally a very calm person, but on this one in occasion, a car cut me up really, really badly, and I had to brake, causing something in the back of my car to get broken. That incensed me. What happened next was that I put my foot on the accelerator. I virtually stuck to the bumper of this guy. I had my hand on the horn the whole time, and I was swearing at him the whole way, swearing at him. I chased him for some distance, and when he eventually had enough and pulled over, I pulled alongside him, put my window down, and I verbalised him. I really swore in a language that I've never heard me utter before, and he was sitting there in total shock. His passenger was white, he was green.
In part 3, the milkman's mistake that's become legend.
I laugh and joke a bit now, but at the time it was nerve-wracking. At the time it wasn't that funny. At the time I was a little bit scared, to be totally honest with you.
A rude awakening at 4 a.m.
I'm really lucky, the luckiest person alive, really, to have a coach in bed with him. There's not many people can say that.
What's the bloody matter with you, idiot? You're ruining the car.
And will the Gautamers ever make it to Marseille?
I had enough of the drive, the bloody thing.
I was in my lorry coming back from Frankfurt, heading towards Gravesend in Kent, and I was on the M20, just gone round a slight left-hand bend, and it wouldn't straighten up. I went across the hard shoulder, through a set of gates, fencing, came back round again, hit the hard shoulder coming back on, and the lorry just split open all over the carriageway. And when the police arrived, they asked me what the brown stuff was coming out the back of my wagon, and I said, well, I think it's glue. And it was a disaster.
The motorway was closed for 13 hours while workmen cleared up 3 tons of glue. Mick Scott was fined £200 and banned for a year. This white car is just 3 feet behind the car in front. They're on the M4 travelling at speeds of up to 108 miles per hour. It looks like he's just driving too close, but in fact he's being towed. Both drivers could be awarded a prize for motorway stupidity, but that trophy's already been won. Remember Mario Marina?
The car just shot forward, up a ramp, into the shop front, into the shop, glass everywhere.
Well, that wasn't the end of Mario's misdemeanors. 8 years later, he became a milkman. A wise choice, you might think. How could he go wrong in a 5-mile-an-hour milk float? Unfortunately, Mario went very wrong.
One day last June, I came into work, and one of my colleagues was off sick, and they wanted me to cover this new route, which was unfamiliar to me. So I got loaded up, and I had to look at the map to find out where I was going.
Not well enough, however, as he was about to discover. When Mario got to this North London roundabout, he needed the A406 straight on. But despite the signs, he turned happily, and ever so slowly, left, onto the M1.
I was very nervous, and I was very scared because I knew, for one, it's illegal to take an electric powered vehicle onto the motorway, and two, it's extremely dangerous. I was concentrating to a degree, but then it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I've been up for 3 hours. You know, you're trying to work out a route that you're going to, so my mind's like on about 10 different other things. And it's not easy, you know, people think, you know, milkmans are easy, just go out and deliver milk and that's it, but it's not easy, you know, they've got to collect money and they've got to work out their rounds. You know, you've got like something like 500 to 600 customers that you've got to go and see.
So Mario went up the M1 slipway. There was no turning back. And he joined the motorway in his battery-powered milk float.
You're going 5 miles an hour and there's cars that are whizzing past at 70, 80 miles an hour. A lot of them were beeping me and flashing me as well. It's quite hell-raising, and I must admit, I don't get scared for a lot of things, but I did get a little bit scared, I must admit. And don't forget, I had 500 bottles of milk on me with me as well, which is, especially when lorries go past you and the thing rocks.
Mario claims he couldn't find an emergency phone. So instead of pulling over and waiting to be rescued, he came up with a brilliant plan of driving 5 miles up the motorway to the first exit, Scratchwood Services. But he began to cause a stir. Overhead, Capital Radio's flying eye was broadcasting his stupidity to the whole of London.
Is absolutely so stupid. This is what's happened. The M1 northbound between junctions 1 and junction 2, some twit in a milk float, yes, a milk float, is travelling up the M1 causing the most enormous queue. And the good news is, Mr. Milk Float driver, twit person, the police are on their way. They're going to give you such a smack, verbally, of course.
The police did have words with Mario. After an hour of painfully slow motorway driving, he was found just yards from Scratchwood Services.
First thing I said, look, I apologise, I know that I've done wrong, and they explained to me that it was illegal for me to be on there on the motorway with the electric powered vehicle. But they saw the funny side and took sympathy on me. We had a cup of coffee, and obviously I supplied the milk for him.
And they escorted him off the motorway. He was later fined £30 and given 3 points. In the meantime, he continued his round. He didn't get back to the depot till dusk.
My boss came over to me, and I told him exactly what happened, and he did say to me it was quite a common mistake. But
common mistake?
Right, it's all right. He said it was a mistake. These things happen. Everyone makes mistakes. But he saw the funny side, and he didn't sack me.
Sun's trying to come out here, but...
It's day 3 of Nick and Dee Gautimer's journey to Marseille, and it's become an epic. They tried to overnight at Grenoble, but the hotels were all full because of the Tour de France. They didn't find this place till 3 a.m. Nevertheless, yesterday's toll roads brought them to within 200 miles of Marseille. For once, everything's going smoothly. There are no hitches this time. It's all downhill. Marseille is ahead, and they finally hit it.
Bloody hell, what the f*** are you doing now? What's the bloody matter with you, idiot? You're ruining the car.
I don't know, he's right.
Well, you direct me now. Do you want me to do everything myself now? That's twice you've done that. This is an old car, we can't afford to do that. Pick yourself up, for Christ's sake.
They're back to their old ways. Though they're in Marseille, they haven't got a local map. It's not till 9:30, 4.5 hours late, that they get to the right part of town.
All you're bloody doing now is pissing me off.
They're just 400 yards from the hotel where their daughters are waiting for them. But it still takes them another hour to negotiate the one-way system.
I mean, that was obvious. It was obvious where we were supposed to turn.
I really don't know. We're in trouble.
Altogether, it's taken them 70 hours.
I found it, okay? No thanks to bloody you stupid. What's the time, huh?
And they've had just 15 hours sleep.
Extremely funny.
Their long-suffering children are pleased to see them nonetheless.
Happy now?
You happy now, yeah?
You're
great.
So long.
Yeah?
I did try to look pleased, but it did actually take them a long time to get here. And I did plan for them to be late. I knew they'd be late, but not that late. I still gave them a hug, though, you do. Haven't seen my parents for a while, so give them a good hug, but you have to give them a good telling off as well, because they do it all the time. They really do.
But karaoke old-timers Nick and Dee are undeterred. They're already dreaming about the campsite where they'll spend the next 4 weeks with their daughters. It's in Malaga, in South Spain. Just another 1,000 miles to go.
Chanson,
chanson d'amour.
We wanted to build up a picture of the most hated motorist in Britain. Was it boy racers, taxi drivers, or possibly Volvo drivers? No. It appears that elderly Sunday drivers incur most wrath on the road. According to our survey, the most hated motorist is a retired man who drives a small hatchback below the speed limit. He earns his title by hogging the middle lane, pulling away slowly, in the wrong gear and without looking, and being oblivious to everyone's irritation.
Why is it that old people are the most hated drivers on the roads? Well, you know, what's going on is that they're not playing by the same rules as all of the other drivers from hell. They're not cutting people up, they're not being aggressive, they're not leaping out of their cars. And it's very convenient for aggressive and bad drivers to hate somebody who's totally unlike them. Because if you hate someone who's like you, you're hating yourself.
I was going to work one Saturday morning and I was travelling through Soho, and up ahead I saw a taxi driver and he was loitering outside a sex shop, and I thought to myself, is he going to go in? Isn't he going to go in? Isn't he? And then he went in and I thought, yes, and then all of a sudden, smack, I went straight into the car in front of me. And just when I thought the day wasn't going to get any worse, what got out but 3 nuns? And let me tell you, Mother Superior wasn't happy.
The peaceful village of Wyndham in Norfolk. This bungalow belongs to Maureen and John Whiterod, a housewife and a telephone engineer approaching retirement.
We're looking for a place to retire in, and we found this, and we thought, you know, this has got plenty of character, and got a nice garden, and we spent 6 years renovating it.
On the night of February the 14th, Valentine's Day, 2 years ago, they were to get a rude awakening from their tranquil lifestyle.
You went to bed because you had the flu, and you watched the football on the telly. You moved the telly over there so you could watch the football.
That's right. I mean, I can just distinctly remember it, really. It was Aston Villa playing in a European Cup game.
Meanwhile, over 100 miles away, a coach driver had just collected a 46-seater to start his night shift.
I left Heathrow. I was driving down to Norwich. It was kind of a cold night with a bit of ground frost. It was cloudy. Pretty normal night for that time of year.
5.5 hours later, John and Maureen were both sound asleep as Aaron Barlow made his last drop of the night, leaving him alone and heading for Wyndham. At the same time, Maureen got up to go to the toilet. The coach drivers always maintain what happened next is that he swerved to avoid an animal in the road.
Is it possible that just for a moment you nodded off?
Not really.
Not really?
I can't, well, thinking about it, probably not.
Slight chance.
Very remote.
Were you speeding?
Well, I've never got to really see the tacho in the coach, but probably I could say I was probably going slightly over the speed limit, yes. I couldn't get the coach under control. I was trying to brake and trying to steer, but nothing was working for me to avoid this house.
I thought there was a bomb, and I was flying through the air, and I hit the wardrobe, and I just had a hot feeling all down my neck.
This footage was shot by John and Maureen's son-in-law moments later. The coach had swerved off the road into the bedroom.
I didn't know it was a coach at the time. I tried to go to the side where all the rubble was and couldn't, and I eventually found my way to the foot of the bed and staggered to the doorway, and Maureen opened it.
John came barging out, absolutely covered in dust and sand and bits of wood, bits of brick, all sorts.
I was pretty worried that I'd killed somebody, or I could have seriously hurt somebody.
By morning, it became easier to see the trail of destruction through 4 gardens, 3 cars, and the Whiterod's bedroom wall, coming to rest inches from the bed. Maureen was out of harm's way in the toilet, but John was catapulted across the room, injuring his neck. He was taken to hospital with Aaron Barlow, who'd gashed his head.
We just couldn't believe it. If the bed had have moved, I'd have just got under the coach. That was frightening, really. Anything could have happened. He could have killed me, he could have killed himself, and, well, anything could have happened, couldn't it, really? And I do have nightmares about the coaches, and every time I see a Jetlink coach, that tend to bring it all back to me. In actual fact, this is the longest I've been in this bedroom since the accident.
Aaron Barlow was fined £60 and got 5 points for driving without due care and attention.
I'm really lucky, the luckiest person alive, really, to have a coach in bed with him. There's not many people can say that. And I just feel like every day is a bonus, and I just feel like I've won the lottery, really. The only thing I regret is not going to the toilet at the same time as Maureen.